I'm Waverly Norris.
And I'm Owen Blankenship, and welcome to Warrior 865. We have lots of information for you today.
As most of you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we have two stories for you coming from our very own CAK staff.
Let's learn about Miss Wakefield and Chef James' breast cancer journeys.
So my name is James Mathis.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer on September 25th, 2018.
I was diagnosed 2012.
I had my annual mammogram and I was called back I was at the Air Force Academy. They asked me to come back and said they needed more pictures.
I had a mass on my breast and I kind of avoided it for like a month. And then I caught vertigo and then I went to the doctor for vertigo. And as I was at the doctor, my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, but my wife now, she asked the doctor to check the mass on my nipple, and that's how they found it.
And so I went back and had what's called a diagnostic mammogram. It's just a more detailed one. And I got called back and told that I needed to come in and have an ultrasound. And that didn't bother me. I'd had that done before. So I went back and had the ultrasound, but the ultrasound did not clear me. So then I had to go back a third time, and these were all a week apart. I had to go back and have a biopsy, and it took 10 days to get my biopsy results. And I was called and told that I had cancer.
So from there, I went and went through the whole procedure of having a mammogram, a biopsy, and and the funny part is that a lot of men don't understand that they don't think that they can get cancer. So I went to Susan A. Coleman, I think that's what it is, or something like that. And they told me, so I was in there in the room when I was about to get my mammogram, and the lady walked in the room and she seen me sitting there and she left out. And she waited about 2 minutes and she come back. But that's the point of me being a man. She thought I was there with a woman and not for myself.
And that I was really lucky that the kind of cancer that I had was the best kind to have if you had to have breast cancer. And that I would hear from a doctor in 2 weeks or so. And that was on a Tuesday afternoon. So I went home. Well, before I went home, I called my husband. He was out of state. We lived in Colorado. He was in Washington, D.C. So I called him and told him what was going on, and then I went to the school that I taught at and that my kids went to.
And so she came back in, and I went and did the mammogram and all that. And basically, when I found out, and after I did the biopsy, the lady told me that she would call me in a week or so. Well, she called me the next day. And I was leaving my driveway at home, and I left, and I knew her voice because she walked me through the biopsy because I was kind of nervous. And so when she called, she asked me, James, are you somewhere we can talk? And I was just around the block. And so I told her, yeah. And so she told me that my biopsy come back cancerous.
I ended up having my first surgery in mid-October. I had a lymph node removed and then the tumor removed. And the lymph node came back clear, which meant I did not have to have chemotherapy. And I had to go back in and have a second surgery because they did not get all of the tumor the first time. And then I had to wait 6 weeks, and I had 19 radiation treatments. And I finished my radiation treatments on New Year's Eve 2018. And I got to ring the bell that I had finished treatments, and at that point, based on all of the treatments and x-rays and all of those things, I was considered no evidence of disease. Most people would say remission, but it's actually called NED, no evidence of disease.
And the first thing I did was I got down on my knees and I prayed, and I laid down and I took about a 4-hour nap, and I woke back up, and then just going through the rest of the day. And that night, I I got down on my knees again. I prayed and I gave it to him, and I told him that you could either take me home or leave me here, and 14 years later, I'm still here.
And other than a very minor glitch last summer, I've not had any issues. So I'm going on 7.5 years now.
Those stories were amazing. It truly is inspiring to hear two of CAK's very own staff speak about their journeys with breast cancer.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Owen. Thank you both, Miss Wakefield and Chef James, for spreading awareness on breast cancer.
Now we're going to transition to another part of the world that has gained lots of attention lately, AI.
Artificial intelligence has been used in nearly every industry, but one of the most notable is education. To wrap up our show, here's Miss Blyle with more on the matter.
I am Mrs. Blyle. I teach dual enrollment English for 11th and 12th graders, composition and world lit, and I can't stand AI. I hate AI because it takes away the beautiful part of learning, which is when you make connections between thing 1, thing 2, thing 10. It's a crutch. I think it makes really bright students lazy and not even try. And I think like the beauty of education is when you try and you succeed. And if you don't even try, you'll never get to see the beauty in it. Oh, this is interesting because I caught one yesterday. Usually it sounds like a really precocious 7th grader wrote it, like it is proficient, but it's robotic. You can just kind of feel it stilted, and it also doesn't sound like them in that like, I know my students, I know they're funny, I know like the kinds of sentences they say, the kind of words they say, and if something feels out of place, there are like a million AI checkers, and you know, there are different ways of finding out. And usually if you go to a student, they'll just be honest about having used it too. So yeah, it just feels wrong. AI is helpful if you're like, what are 10 dinner ideas with the, you know, chicken and Parmesan cheese I have in my fridge or whatever. But the downside of using AI on things that matter is that it takes away, I think I already said this, but it takes away like the inquiry aspect where real learning happens. Also, like, living is beautiful. Like, I'm not the first person to say that. And so to me, it takes away like the living part of living. Like, sometimes you do have to think about hard things, and that's rewarding and it's helpful and it grows you as a person. You develop grit. And without that, life is kind of dull. What AI gets wrong is the beautiful juxtaposition of ideas that usually can only come from your own head. What AI also gets wrong is that it's like, you know, it's stealing from other models where it has learned things, so it is inherently not creating like new, interesting, unique perspectives. And like what I love to hear from students is when they have like an insane idea about a poem that I've never heard, or like we're reading something and they're like, you know, they just say something out of left field. And that never happens with AI. Like every single sentence sounds the exact same if you have it right, even if you yourself are an interesting person, that's never reflected through AI. I think it can be good in small instances where you need to simplify a task, like, hey, take this PDF and turn it into a PowerPoint for my random class. Like, I don't personally do that, but I see the effectiveness. Like, I see how that is helpful. And I have colleagues who use it in like interesting and unique ways. To me, I just don't, it's like playing with fire, and I don't find it worthwhile. This is a Joseph Fasano poem, and it's called For a Student Who Used AI to Write a Paper. It's a short poem, I'll read it. Now I let it fall back in the grasses. I hear you. I know this life is hard now. I know your days are precious on this earth, but what are you trying to be free of? The living? The miraculous task of it? Love is for the ones who love the work. And I love that poem because it's like, what are you trying to be free of? The living? Like, why are you using AI? What are you trying to escape?
And that's all for this month's show. I'm Waverly Norris.
And I'm Owen Blankenship, and this was Warrior 865.